And we are live. Hello, hello. I am here with the lovely, illustrious, the greatest person ever, Kelly.
Okay.
Um, I'm here with Kelly.
Hi.
Um,
Yeah, that works.
and we are going to be doing a social processing interview where Kelly doesn't have any social input from Dave or Shan or Michael. But we are gonna go. I'm gonna go through and interview her. Have her tell me about her life. Go through the regular questions that we usually go through, and we are going to see if we can come to any conclusions. And I'd like the audience. I hope Kelly doesn't mind this. The audience to give their input. Their input on what social type Kelly might be. But first, Kelly, if you'd like to introduce yourself, give us some background on you, all the usual good stuff. Let us
Sure,
get to
sure.
know you a little bit better.
Yeah, so I am I am I am 40 years old. I currently live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I recently moved here like last September with my husband and my child, who is going to be 2 in June.
Mhm.
Um, and we moved here because we had a good financial opportunity, which was important to us with the kind of future that we were trying to build with our kid, but was really, really hard for me because I had previously lived for like 14 years in San Diego, California. Um, I come from I have 2 brothers and sisters. I am the oldest. My dad was in the Air Force. We moved around growing up.
Mhm.
Um, my dad is an electrical engineer who worked on stealth technology. He's an atheist, and my mother is a fine art major who ran her own business and managed several other businesses, and is Catholic. So I was raised going to church by my mom, sort of. And like my dad, I remember my dad telling me at a certain point, like, oh, well, everybody has to figure it out for themselves. So,
Mm.
your mom takes you to church, but blah, 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 blah. And for some reason, that was always really important to me growing up, kind of that attitude towards it. Um, and I similarly so I now have a very sort of, like I say, religion is in my DI. I heard a
Mm.
really good quote about it on a podcast that I was listening to the other day, that the way I see a lot of religion, at least the people that I think are doing it well, or when it works, is people are using it the same way people use mental health to like be aware of themselves and work on themselves and work towards being part of something bigger and better than themselves. And
Mhm.
in that regard, I have a lot of respect and sort of love for it as a community role. Um, but I am actually agnostic. I don't literally believe in any religion. And yeah, why did I open with that? Here, let's just stir this pot. But yeah, so
I'm loving it.
oh
I'm
yeah.
loving it. This is
um,
great.
so we moved around. When I was getting ready to go to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do, like most people. The things I thought I wanted to do, my parents told me didn't make a lot of money, wasn't a good idea. So I ended up um, signing up to go into Air Force ROTC, and I chose physics because I really loved physics in high school, and got into Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, for those who don't know, was originally a military school. So the ROTC program is like a military school within a regular university. So like I lived in a dorm my freshman year. I had all sorts of rules. Like I wasn't allowed to talk without being spoken to. I had to square my corners and wear a uniform. And we got hazed every evening around 5. And every Friday we got run around campus to made to do push-ups and carry each other through mud and all that crap.
Mhm.
Um, so it's a very different kind of college experience. Um, I think it's interesting and important when talking about personality because I actually struggled with my grades in college. I had really bad test anxiety in physics, so I ended up dropping out of physics because I was afraid of failing and I couldn't figure out what I would do with the major. I couldn't see like a concrete application to it. So I was like, okay, well, I really like what I'm doing in the Corps of Cadets because it was basically just like a big psychology lab.
Mhm.
Just got to watch people be in leadership roles or be in followership roles and watch them make good decisions and bad decisions. And it was really cool. So I had a science, I had a, what is the word I'm looking for? They were paying me as long as my degree was in science. So I switched to biology, which is harder than physics because it's just memorization.
Yeah. A lot of categories.
Yeah, lots of highlighters, lots of flashcards. Did not do very well. And then I got into a bicycle accident and got medically disqualified from going into the Air Force about a month before I was supposed to commission. So I was also engaged to be married at this time. So I stuck around. I got a job and picked up a chemistry minor, and then went out and got a job in a lab supporting pharmaceutical drug development. I didn't know anything about the field. I just wanted to work with my hands because I knew that I would learn quicker if I was like immersed in it and like could watch what people were doing and get my hands on it. And I stayed in that career field until I'm still in it. I'm still in it. Yeah. So I went through, I ended that engagement for reasons that I can get into if I need to, but basically differences in kind of what we were experiencing and trouble communicating. And then I moved from Virginia to California because that's where my family was then living. About 4 years post-college with a friend from high school. Had plenty of rock bottom moments in California, in San Diego, with friends and romantic relationships and professional relationships, career-wise. And then I met Jason. We dated for about 5 years, got married, had a kid, and decided to move to Philadelphia. And that's the short version.
Love it. It's great. No, I really, really interesting. And like, so, okay, that's kind of like the first part. Or like, I don't know. I'm kind of processing listening to like what your story is. So seeing if I can pick up on the social threads of like, what are you kind of saying? You're an IP and you have play, but there's a lot. Well, this is just a people story. I don't know. I'm not good at 512 typing yet, so don't know how it conflicts. So maybe I'm picking up on just being a decider, but it just seems like there's so much community in people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just very, very present in your awareness. Even if you probably feel like you're conflicting with it sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think so without calling out a specific social type, because I'm not officially typed, if we were to explore, say, the tension between me being an IP and potentially being a social 4, I would say that the tension there is in the daily way I interact with people. I'm not necessarily charismatic. I'm super awkward. I'm super afraid of like getting it wrong or offending. And that I think is where you see the IP. And also, like when I was in college, I was totally fine being like I didn't have a social. I didn't go to party. I was happy. I was happy sitting in my room during study hall, working on my physics problems, reading fan fiction about Harry Potter. And like that was my freshman life, and I was happy with it. Sneaking music on headphones and being ready to rip them out of your ears as soon as an upperclassman beat on your door because I was not supposed to be listening to music. I was fine with it. Yeah, so it's in the daily thing, but the big overarching decisions that I've made, a lot of them have been partly me trying to figure out who I am, like where do I belong? What am I good at? Can I just find that and go after that? And also me realizing how much people matter to me. And sometimes when I make decisions and I lose people, how much it hurts. And like, for example, my family moved to California while I was in college, and I made a decision. Part of the reason, like when I was engaged, I decided to move to Richmond, and because it was important to me to prove that I could like be independent. Like I can get a job, I can pay my own bills, I can do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I am an adult. And I think that added on, like if I had just gone with him wherever he was stationed, like because the connection we had was much more like we were never big talkers. We just did things together. And if we were doing things together, we probably would have figured it out better. But because our whole connection was on us trying to talk to each other, it fell apart. So that was like that was a huge lesson for me. And I don't know if it was a lesson because like I think the lesson that I took away from it for the longest time was that I made a mistake or that I messed up or that there was something wrong with me, which not necessarily the case.
Oh my God, I relate so much. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then the realize that exactly that, and then realizing, wait, I blamed myself, and it was like, was any of that actually my fault? It's like,
right. It takes two people to make something work. And this is where I say I might have had a little bit of like, I don't know if I'd call it, I don't know if it fits, but it's like type 1 energy where I had these insane like standards for myself that I wasn't meeting. And so I was a ball of like tension and I was fighting with my boyfriend because inside I was unhappy with what I was actually able to do in the real world. And I was scared about that. And vice versa, he was cranky because he was, in his perspective, he was going through training, basic training, something that his dad did before him. He was familiar with it all. And he was getting annoyed with people who weren't as ready to do it as he was. So he was complaining about people making stupid mistakes, and I was making stupid mistakes. So it was like clash.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, in hindsight, I don't necessarily think I did it wrong. It was you go through life and you make decisions, and those decisions teach you things. It's like it was part of the learning, part of the growing. And if it was really like something that if there was really like this meant to be, which I don't believe in, it shouldn't have just been on me to make it work. Like, and so it's not really worth like, it's not worth beating yourself up over that long. But I did struggle with it for a long time. I think when we broke up, I trained for a marathon because I had bought him tickets to the Toronto Blue Jays because I wanted to travel and he liked the Blue Jays. And so it was like, oh, we can travel to Toronto and look, it's a gift that I'm giving you. But then that was after we broke up. So then I trained for the marathon in Toronto so that I would still get to travel to Toronto and to distract myself from like trying to call him every Monday in tears saying, this was a mistake. Can we please get back together? Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say, or just bring up, since you mentioned like socials, that Shan said that what they're seeing is your 512 type, it dominates everything.
Right.
And then it filters down. I don't know what the second one was, and then the last one was like socials.
It's your type. Well, so what they said is your functions, your animals, and then your socials. So like my savior functions are TI and NE, and you should see those in me all the time. You should see them constantly. And then my animal, consume and play, you should see those. And then my social would be kind of like the umbrella in which those function.
And Habib talked about that. He said it's very like the social is kind of the macro, is the macro of your life. And so if there's a difference between your social and your functions, you'll be like, it'll cause some pain. It'll cause some pain.
Yeah. And I have savior play, so that should actually be congruent with
yes.
With hypothetically with one of them. And then I have savior consume, which would be congruent with a different one.
With two.
Which one is consume again?
Consume is 2, blast is 3, and sleep is 1.
Okay.
So yeah, there's some incongruency in some cases.
Yeah. Yeah,
but the TI being the Godhead, you
right.
know.
And that causes a lot of, I think that could explain a lot of ways in which I may not fit within a certain category.
Mm-hmm. So
I think.
I'm thinking. What do we think, Kelly?
I don't care.
Please.
No, I do care, actually. Please.
What do we think? But I was gonna say I wanted to actually tell a story. Now that we've kind of gotten through that, is why I actually brought you on, Kelly. Or like I already told you, but like to tell the audience is, I was talking to a friend in VCs. I was having a basically a just spiraling like I hate myself. It was very much a hate myself moment. I'm such a shitty person, beating up on myself. Kelly jumps in, and my friend who's just like rolling her eyes, I don't want to be, and telling me I don't want to be your therapist. Kelly jumps in and just gives me the tea, and totally I was just like, she tells me her story. We both kind of forgot what happened, but basically what she told me was like, I was just confessing, like, I've been a shitty person to these people. I've been a shitty person to these people. I'm not doing what I want. And she's just like, you need to take steps towards doing like things that make you like yourself. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, you gave me the tea. You gave me the thinker juice.
I gave you the way to escape your feelings.
Yeah, wait.
Well, the way to move your feelings.
What? But I just feel like in that moment, my friend who I was talking to, she's not officially typed, but I've listened to her just all the responsibilities on her back. I'm just like, I think you're a 2. I see 2. I can't see anything else. Dave gave her a 2 or 4. I think she's a 2. And then you come in, and this person is supposed to be save your feelings, save your SF, save your NF. This person should be able to. This should be easy for them. But you step in, and you're just like, here, let me help you out, pal. And I was just like, whoa. I just feel like every once in a while, I'm just so hard on myself, and people are like, help. And I'm like, what? I don't know. But could you know?
You remember when you sent this to me, at first I gave you several reasons that had nothing to do with social type, why it might have been that way, right?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I said that the other person is masculine FE and I'm feminine FE. And because I'm IP, like craving like tribe acceptance, I might have been more motivated to help you, whereas they were not craving that, and they're masculine in their emotions. So seeing somebody who's struggling is like, whatever. Like, yeah, I know how to help you, but this is where, like they may be
boundaries.
You also told me that you talked to them a lot. And so this was the first time you had talked to me about this situation. So just to like, check all the boxes, there are reasons other than social type why you might have felt that way. But I'm really glad that what I said was helpful.
Well, I don't know. It's been so funny because it's been like, I'm so hard on myself, and it's been from 2 lead TIs. The other one is someone who is typed as a 4 and lead TI. Benjamin, who I was talking to, he was like, I was like, I can't be loved until I do this task, until I write this book, tell this story, achieve this thing. He's like, nobody. You can be loved for striving for that. I was like, what? Yeah. I'm not worthy. I have to do it. Who I am right now is not worthy. He's like, no, you can be loved for striving. Like, I was like, because I'm so it's so grand, so big. It has to be so big that me now is not even close to that I'm just like, I'm unworthy. So it's just like, I'm just like, what? They're just like it's the lead TIs who are telling me, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that a weird thing?
Well, I think that's very similar to what I was experiencing when I was engaged when I was younger. I was afraid of not being good enough for what we were about to embark on. And I was like seeking proof in what I was doing in my life. And I wasn't getting proof. I was I mean, I was, but I wasn't looking at it correctly, if that makes sense. All I was seeing was the things I was messing up, the mistakes I was making, and it was freaking me out. Like, for example, when we officially ended it, I went to visit them and I bought a new car. And I needed a new car because I had been sinking like $500 into my car. I had done it like 3 times in the past year. My car was, and it's not that I needed it, but it's that it was I found a car, I bought a car. It wasn't like a terrible decision, but I did it so quickly. Like, I went to visit them, we went to a dealership, and then I bought it. And in my mind, all I could see was I made a bad decision. I made an impulsive decision, and I did it while you were with me. I can't trust you to help me not make impulsive decisions. We are bad together. And like, I freaked out, and I shared this freak out with them, and it caused another fight. And then we finally were like, and so it's similar in the sense that I was being way too hard on myself. And in being way too hard on myself, I was also being way too hard on everyone else. Like, I was extroverting that energy onto everyone else. And yeah, so it's like, how do you direct that energy? You can direct that energy by spinning up internally in your head. And it's important to self-reflect and to be aware of like things you could have done better. Or you can direct that energy towards like, what things am I doing on a daily basis that move me towards where I want to be? And that was the fix for me that took me a very, very long time to figure out. I mean, I still don't do it right sometimes because it's not easy. It's not like oh yeah, that's the answer, let's just go do it. No, there's, you get lazy, you get tired, you get down, you get sad. And all of those things are things that stop you from doing it, or can make it more difficult. And so, but the key is still get back up, find that routine, and start logging the routine. And the routine will get you closer. Like, if you've identified what you want and you set up your routine towards that, you will feel better. You will become closer to the person you want to be.
Yeah. We have a few people commenting.
Oh God.
Here. Here it is. Kelly is super nice to talk to in the VCs. By the way, Kelly, when I asked you, I was like, "Oh, Kelly, you're so nice." You were like, "Oh, all these other people are so nice." I went to all those people, and they were like, "Kelly's so much nicer than me." I was like,
yeah, and that's the IP. Like, I don't know. I see people are better at making friends than I am, and so I assume that they're good at it because they're good at connecting. I don't know, like, that's the part of the social four that could be anecdotal and could be easy to miss, is you think that the social four, like, even in Shan's recent video, she was like, all these people, they're the nicest people. But what does that actually mean? Does it mean that they're the person that's always gonna like smile and say hi? Or does it mean that I literally drop whatever I'm doing to help somebody if I see a problem? Like, it doesn't always mean that, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. You're
like, maybe.
I don't know. I don't have like, I had a lot of friends in San Diego, but it took me 15 years to sort of develop those friendships. It's not like I show up and like make friends, So I don't know why I needed to explain that, but
well, I've seen with some like some people are save your friends. They just have an abundance of friendship and they're always going towards that. Whereas I'm like, if you get me talking about friendships, it's a bit weird. I'm a bit like, oh, how are you going to help me?
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah. But does this align with what with my goals? It's like, do you fit in with what I'm doing? And thank goodness I have something I'm working towards where I now can use that to connect with people.
Right.
It's actually helping me a lot. But there's a weird energy where I'm like, I just want friends, so I'm not a loser. I'm like, that sounds wrong. That sounds wrong to people. And I get that it's weird. So, but
yeah, because genuine friendship is based on a shared interest or shared value.
This is true.
I think it goes back to like you. It's not like I'd be surprised. I'm really interested to have you interview the person that I know you're going to interview who is confirmed for.
Mhm.
I want to see them talk about it because I think they fit more naturally into the stereotype, at least from my perspective. So I'm excited to hear them talk. But like, yeah, people think of like the fours just like having friends everywhere. I would bet that there are fours who don't have friends. Like they might be friendly.
I've talked to some confirmed four who's just like, I used to not have friends.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, and it's not, I don't think it's not having friends is not necessarily reflective of the drive. The drive is, I think, my understanding, the drive is I will do all these other things for my community. That is my motivation. Like when I've found that community that I will do these things for them. That's my understanding of it. And so
yeah. So by the way, that makes me think of, I think there is an example of someone who's not a confirmed four, but who I think is a four, and I think is a extremely positive four, which is the first guy I interviewed on my channel, Jono, my type twin. And he says he's a two. He thinks he's a two. But the thing is I think he went through his own friend's hell with his divorce early on. Yeah, he went through his own friends and family and religion hell with his. And the thing is he's not elitist. He's not elitist at all.
Yeah.
He's so, and he is literally exactly what Shan was saying, the community leader. He is organizing the community into meetups, and he's just like, I make friends everywhere I go. So I think I might want to get him back on and actually do an actual interview, like, and see that stuff. But yeah. Okay, there are some more comments, but we might want to move into the questions soon.
Trust your guidance. Give people more data. What did the people come here for? Let's give the people what they want.
Let's give the people.
Wait, just kidding.
Well, okay, we can come back to these. Let's get into the first question.
Okay. Henry. Yes.
If you could be famous for something, what would you want to be famous for?
So what I had originally answered to this question was that I wouldn't necessarily want to be famous in the traditional sense, that I would really just want, when I die, for there to be a large swath of people who miss me. That's it. Like, that means I did something right? Like that I was a consistent, reliable person at work that people could depend on, that like I did good by my family. But I would also argue that I think I would be cool being famous for like being part of a scientific team that discovered something cool, like the structure of DNA or germ theory. Like if I could contribute to a body of research and like have my name be known for that, I would also love that. Those are both things. But I would never want to be like, I would be nervous about being like a Kardashian or like being the best at something. I wouldn't like that. I would hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And literally it sounded like social and then your functions and then like on a team as well. I don't want it, which some of my previous interviews with people who were specialized, they were kind of saying the same stuff, but I wouldn't want the spotlight. I wouldn't want the spotlight. It could interfere with what I'm doing here.
Right.
It would interfere with what I'm doing here, and I wouldn't like that. What if it interfered with what I'm doing here? But I'm like, but my perspective is the opposite. It's go to the top. You got this. Like, take it all the way. Like, and they're like, nah. So super cool. Next question. What would constitute the perfect day for you, Kelly?
So there's like a couple of different ways to answer this. I actually typed it out. I'm not going to read it.
Right off the cuff. Speak from the heart. Speak from the TI.
Yeah, so I want to answer like, so the perfect day would be a day where I overcame like the worst version of myself. That would be the perfect day.
Yeah.
So the worst version of myself being like, I'm sleepy, I sleep too much. I want to be able to be one of those people that can get up at like 4:30 and go for a jog and
Mhm.
then like get my kid ready and drop him off and go to work and like contribute at work and like
Mhm.
ooh, Kelly, we need you to solve this problem and going like problem solved and like hey like and like maybe go get drinks with coworkers after or like you know play in a soccer like a work soccer team and then like or maybe go home and have dinner with my husband and my kid um, and or I don't want to make dinner. I don't have if I never have to make dinner ever again, I'd be happy. Um, but yeah, and then like maybe afterward, there's so many different ways the day could go. So when I first looked at the question, I was like, I would want a time turner. The perfect day would be a day that I could just, you know, I could live
Redo
like five
everything.
5 days in one day. Yeah. Um, like, maybe I'd relax on the couch and watch some stupid TV with my husband and blow off steam, or maybe we would go, do a game night somewhere with some really good friends of ours, or go catch a movie because I love movies. Um, yeah, I'm trying to see what else I have written here, but that's basically it. I'm going off the cuff, cuffs.
That's why I rolled up my sleeves.
um,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so that's the answer.
Hmm. So magical, crazy, any stuff, and
Yeah, magical, crazy, any stuff.
hmm.
Masculine DI stuff, like I push on myself enough that I can overcome all my weaknesses. I think that's masculine DI. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Wow. Yeah.
and then all the people, all the roles for all the people, successful at them.
Mm. Pow, 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 pow. No, okay, okay. Wow. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Are you ready for the next question, Kelly? You
Yes,
want to? Yes. Okay. Okay. For what in life do you feel most grateful?
the people I have worked with, my family, and my health, and
Mm.
worked with slash friends. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Like not necessarily when I think of like things that I've done that I'm grateful for, there's like cool experiences that I've had, but all those experiences were important. Like what I loved about them was the people that I was doing them with, the
Mm.
different people I got to interact with. Like I went to London when I was in high school with our theater company, and I got to be in the Crucible, and we traveled to London because our theater teacher, had buddies over there, and so he did this thing. And that's awesome. Like I got to go to London when I was in high school, which I know to an international community listening, they may not understand
Mm.
why that is exciting for a girl who spent her teenage years in rural Ohio. um, but it was travel. Like it was like, yeah, I got to travel, and
Yeah.
London was cool, but like I got to be surrounded by all these theater geeks and like watch them do. We did some workshops with them and the people that were in the show with me, and um, I can't remember any of their names right now because it was a long time ago. But it's the people. I went to the World Cup in Brazil, and I went with my friends Jeanette, Mark, and Melissa. And I could have gone there, but if I had gone there with anybody else, it would not have been as fun because I played soccer with Jeanette and Mark for 4 years.
Oh.
Yeah, indoor soccer in San Diego is actually outdoor because it's the climate. So you play outdoor on like a turf year round. And they were my coworkers that I played soccer with, and we played together on the same team for 4 years. And then we all went to Brazil. So it was those relationships is what made that trip awesome.
Mm.
I just going to Brazil is cool, but it wouldn't have meant as much to me if I hadn't gone with them. So um, so yeah, it's the people that and I say the people that I work with because I am better able to form close relationships with people when I work with them because
Mm.
there's a clear like analytical way to interact, like as opposed to having to be charismatic
Mm.
and like social and like
Mm.
yeah. So that. And I had a really good childhood, and I'm really lucky. Like, my parents fight like cats and dogs, but they're best friends and they love each other. And so there's all sorts of like character building moments I had. And my mom is probably a 4 with some sort of masculine in her, but like she loved being a mom and creating like this magical world for us as kids. And my dad was just like, I don't agree with my dad on a lot of things, but my dad would never tell me what to think or what to do. He would encourage me to go figure it out. And yeah, you have to do it yourself, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. Which also means he's not going to help you, which is a whole other side of it. But that's, I think I prefer the freedom of, I'm not going to tell you what to do, as opposed to somebody who's going to be there every step but is trying to control what I do. Yeah.
Sounds like good parenting.
Yeah, I think my parents did a good job. I wish I could take away their ability to vote right now, but I think they did a good job as parents. I'm joking. I'm joking, sort of.
I wish I could take away everyone's ability to vote.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, super cool.
Sorry.
Okay. No. It's no, I think it's interesting. I think it's funny. It's hilarious. Okay. I think we're ready for the next question.
Okay.
What, Kelly, is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Getting myself out of depression in my 30s.
Ooh, yours lines up with mine. That's cool.
Yeah. You want me to say more of that?
I mean, you don't need to, but how'd you do it?
I doubled down on work. So I think it's a good anecdote of like potentially demon responsibility. Because basically I moved. There's a bunch of like I had issues with debt, I had issues with relationships, like things not working out, which is normal, FYI, for lots of people. If you go through these things, it's normal to go through these things. Don't let them get you stuck. But it was like a domino effect where my like world, the things that helped me like sort of crumbled. So like basically a lot of my friends were through work, like that soccer team, but our company was having massive turnover and a lot of my peers were leaving to go find jobs at other companies. And I was terrified to do that. And I didn't know how, like, weirdly, this is weird and I know it's weird, but I was like sort of mad at them for not helping me leave too. But I was aware that like I needed to do it. Like they didn't owe that to me. And so like I was aware of it. It was like an unhealthy desire in me that I wanted them to take me with them. And so I just sort of doubled down and made myself stay in this job and made myself sort of take on more responsibility in the face of management turnover, leadership turnover, like massive squabbles. The company ultimately went into bankruptcy after I left. But it was a good learning experience, like taking on all that responsibility. Like there was basically a gap in like middle management because of they lost like a whole generation of skill because they weren't promoting people or giving people raises or recognizing what was needed to make kind of this like production line system work. And so they lost people in the middle, and the people that stayed ended up taking on like more work because leadership didn't really understand what they had just lost. Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's a demographic. I'm going to be observing right now, but there's a demographic thing where it's the boomers were the biggest generation, the Gen, what was it? X.
Yeah.
And then the millennials. The boomers are all retiring. And now the Gen X who like were always underpaid interns now are moving into that position, and there's not enough of them, so they're like, okay, I'm going to work remotely and work from the Bahamas, and I'm getting more pay, and F everyone else. It's like there's not enough people to fill out the middle. But I mean, like,
yeah,
I will just say one more thing, and then I will get back to you.
No, you're fine.
Russia.
Yeah.
The Soviet Union collapsed and their education collapsed, and all their professional class was from the Soviet Union. They haven't trained up anyone
Right.
technical expertise since the Soviet Union
Right.
collapsed.
Right.
It's like stuff like that happens fucking crazy. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kendra.
Yeah, it's definitely probably a pattern that cycles in many ways. This was not boomers leaving. This was elder millennials and Gen Xers leaving. Mostly millennials.
Okay.
And it was Gen Xers who were not understanding that, and boomers and Gen Xers who were not understanding what it actually took to get the profits that they were trying to push and the quality of project management that they were ignoring, basically. Or at least that was my take on it. So basically, when all those people left, there was a smaller subgroup of us, and I had to step into responsibility roles that I was afraid to step into. But there was something exciting about. I am naturally sort of NE. I've gotten in trouble before. Like I got a promotion and my boss basically wanted me to focus on assay development, but I ended up running around troubleshooting for all the other analysts. Like I couldn't stop myself from helping this person, helping that person, helping this person, helping that person, helping this person. And I didn't actually focus on my own work enough to like get my own work done. That I got in big trouble for that. Well, when this happened, I was allowed to do that. I was encouraged to do that. I was put in a role where I ran around and like solved everybody's problems, which is not sustainable. And so I was trying to like, it's not like I wanted to stay in this role. I wanted it to be temporary because you need trained teams that you can rely on to execute. And if you build a system up where you don't retain them, in my opinion, I'm going way off topic here. You're gonna have problems.
This is cool.
Yeah. So
I love this shit.
Yeah. So I was running around in this role, like loving it, but also stressed out because long term I knew we needed to bring people in and set up a structure where I didn't have to do that, and trying to figure. And then so when we moved in that direction, I then moved into actual development, assay development, which was also hard. Like I had the experience to do it. I just needed. I was fortunate that I got a mentor. They hired somebody that I worked with very well because he liked looking at data. And so he would literally go through my data tables with me and I could analyze with him. And he basically made me more confident in what I knew because I could talk about it with him. Whereas other people just wanted like, a quick, they didn't want to necessarily go through the analysis where he would go through the analysis with me. He liked teaching and he liked data. And I grew a lot under his management, and I got to step into roles that I hadn't. So I did a lot of personal growth. It ties back to the thing we said at the very beginning of the video. I got out of the depression because I worked on things that made me like myself, made me respect myself and have pride in myself. I also branched out and joined a volleyball league. So I started having like friends outside of work. And I met Jason and started dating Jason. And sorry, I've never actually said his name.
Every time you say Jason, I
know everyone's going to think of that Jason. And I've never actually said his name before because I knew people would like make that connection. And I like, for some reason, like, I don't know, but Jason,
stay away from Jason.
This is my Jason.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so cute.
Yeah. But yeah, so
oh my God.
So yeah, I started doing improv. Like I put myself out there. I was responsible for pursuing things that I liked instead of somebody else helping me get there. And that got me out of it.
Wow. Well, that's really cool. And your advice, I mean, you said going to volleyball. I've been going to swing dance, and I have my own like goals with that, right? But it's like, I'm like, holy, this is a perfect place to be. Like, because we practice, we do a lesson before, and the girls circulate, so I can practice my riz of just like make a joke. So I mean, last time I went, the first girl I danced with, who like we were in two lines, and we had to like hone it in on each other. So she owns it on me. Yeah. And she's like, my name is Mason. I go, but like in the back of my head, I'm like, you have a boy's name? I have a girl's name. I go, I'm Henrietta. And then I told every girl I was Henrietta. And so whenever I walked up to a girl, they're like, "Oh, you're Henry." I was like, "How do you remember my name?" I was like, "Because you told me your name was Henrietta." I was like,
That works. Yeah. And that's the whole thing is I can get caught in my head and I need to get out of my head. And I need to get out of my head and make small fails that don't have a big impact on a regular basis.
yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing was the first time I had to go by myself. Like I had gone with my friends a few times, but they're like, "Oh, I'm busy. I can't go with you for the rest of the month." I'm like, "Well, I'm going."
Good. Yes.
And I was like, but the first day I had to go by myself, I was just like, "I'm gonna go. I have no friends. I'm gonna be a loser."
You're gonna be
And I
that
was
cool
like,
person that shows up solo and everyone's gonna be like, look at this guy came by himself. He must be so cool.
"Well,
No.
so the funny thing is that well, no, not funny, but I was just sitting there. I was feeling like a blast last, like tension of just like, don't get up, don't go. You're not ready. You know,
Oh,
the right. And I was like, okay, put on your fancy suit and show up because you're feeling insecure. Don't wear anything else but your fanciest suit. Go in your, and now that I'm like more confident, I'm like, I don't need to fucking wear this suit, the suit, like, and I'm like, oh my god, wearing the suit shows that I'm insecure.
not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but like,
I love
but
that though. I
what?
I I I guarantee you, it's not all girls, but there is a significant number of women who, if I dress up, I'm dressing up to psych myself up. I'm
Yeah.
not dressing up for anybody else usually. I'm doing it because when I look at myself and I like the way I look and I think I look good, it helps me be more confident in the moment. I
Mm,
don't have any problem with the suit. I say wear the suit. I mean, it's good to get to a place where you can be comfortable just like whatever, but it's a good hack, I think.
uh, it was a good hack. It was a good hack, and now it's like, and now, I mean, I notice, like, I'm literally realizing, like, wait, I'm doing the friends last thing again. It's like I went one time, went really well, and I had also made some friends who I could
Yeah.
sit with. And I went again, and I went like I go talk to the girl I want to dance with, go talk to the girl, and then go stand at the bar by myself. I was like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, that wasn't as good. You weren't schmoozing." It's like because my brain's not automatically going, "Go make friends." It's like
Yeah. My
I'm here
my
for one reason to get better at dancing. Like,
yeah, I don't and sometimes the friends you make are the friends that are also somewhere for the same reason you are there. Like how many
mm,
movies have two girls that become friends because they're at the bar and they're complaining about how lame the wedding is, you know? Like
mm, mm.
like I don't know. Yeah,
But
I know the feeling of like showing up somewhere and um failing at
mhm,
interacting with people. Um,
mhm. But I will say just the last thing of I said I was going to go do this, and if I don't go do this now,
mhm.
like you got to tell you if you don't get started and go do the thing, I was just like, oh my god, I'll just do this forever.
Yeah,
It was I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this, and I was
yeah,
like, I want to do this. You
yeah,
have to go. If I don't go, if I don't get started, this is where I'm going. You have to see that. But I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
because
Get
I
that.
just, yeah,
Plus, swing dancing is just so fun,
it is so fun. It is so fun.
and and it's a good like I don't know. I think it's a good like if a guy who knows how to dance and can lead a dance is also just like a fun party trick to pull out, especially if you're trying to woo somebody.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know about that. I don't woo anyone. I just
Yeah.
say that. Okay, Kelly. I think we're ready
Next question.
for the next question.
Next question.
Okay, where were we?
What do I?
Yes. The friendship question. It's two questions in one.
Mhm.
What, Kelly, do you most value in friendship? And what is the meaning of friendship?
So, what I value most in friendship is somebody who is kind, playful, and reliable. So, like somebody who shows up, um, uh, they're kind of like comfortable in their own skin and willing to like goof. Like they can goof off for other people. They're not taking themselves too seriously, but they also like own their own crap. Like they're working on their own stuff. They, you know, because I think you can't really be a friend to somebody else if you're not aware of and working on your own crap. So it's overanalyzed it, but like it's more like when I think about the people that I really, really have valued as friends, they were kind. There's a certain intelligence level there too, but also not, because some of my favorite people, I have no idea how smart they are, and the way they talk is like, yeah, volleyball. Like they're just the people that maybe showed up to the volleyball game like in a good mood and like didn't get too bummed out if we started losing the game, which we all hated losing the game. Nobody wants to lose the game. Everybody gets angry when you start losing the game. But if you get angry, then you start making more mistakes. So if you can be the person that like doesn't get distracted by the fact that you made a mistake, you can find some reason to laugh or goof without getting too goofy, it's just more fun. And kind, yeah, that's somebody who is aware of how they're influencing all the people around them. It doesn't mean that you're a doormat, because that's the opposite of kind. Sometimes it means that you are honest and direct with people who need to hear it in a way that might actually be hard to say. But I would want somebody who would be honest with me and wouldn't just like be nice to me. So yeah, that. And what does friendship mean to you? I didn't have a good answer for this one. So what would I say right now? I think what I wrote, it has changed because it's changed a lot, because I find that friendship kind of cycles. Like I've had really close friends that it has been a period in my life that I was friends with this person, and then we moved in different directions. So what does friendship mean to me? Friendship means to me what I wanted it to mean when I was 20 was, a forever thing. Like if you were my friend, we were friends forever. But I had a really close friend that like someone I was friends with in high school, and she didn't see it the same way, and that really hurt and was really hard for me, because it was somebody that I had fully planned to like, when I'm 50 and I've got kids, we both have kids, or maybe we don't, but we might still get together and go somewhere, and catch up. So I don't have that expectation anymore, because I don't want to be let down. So for me right now, friendship just means it's much more sort of transactional.
Okay.
Do we have a shared, it is a person that I am moving along the same path with, that I can rely on, that we mutually support. And part of that mutual support is that we kind of are moving towards the same direction. And that's kind of, I don't really expect much beyond that. I expect that eventually our paths will diverge and our friendship will change. So if I see them again, I'm probably going to be happy to see them, and would love to catch up, but I'm not going to expect a specific type of presence in my life, if that makes sense.
Kelly, I will tell you right now.
Okay.
That your answer, like your answers make so much sense. Yeah. But they feel way more nuanced than like what I've gotten from other people. Like you are actually really processing it. Like you are in it. Like that's what it feels
really like. Neurotic.
What?
I'm just joking.
Well, I mean, like for instance, the Forever Friends, like that's you were younger, and that kind of sounds like Forever Friends, and that sounds like, well, I'm afraid. Yeah, it sounds like an insecure thing. And then life happened, and you were like, okay, friendships are more transactional, which is just reality. Like right. We all have the bonds of reality that have to hold us together. Necessity, which creates things. But like you're literally, when you're talking about what you want in a friend, you're talking about like the complete person, the person who has their shit together, knows themselves, cares about you.
They don't have to perfect. But yeah, it's an
It's
ideal.
not perfect. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you were saying, what you were saying, in my view, was someone who owns their darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Exactly.
doesn't spew it out onto you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so
They
you're
are self-aware.
seeing that nuance. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
That's what I was. That's so yeah. Yeah. Cool.
which
Okay.
also means I need to be that person if I want to be
Yeah.
those people. So
Yeah.
working on
I find it really interesting because I legit think we have multiple fours in the community who are literally managers,
it.
which
Oh yeah.
then
Oh
blows
yeah.
up the stereotype of the four. But it's like maybe their style and motivations are different. And they have, when you actually listen to their reasons for it, they're all like, I wanted a positive community. Like, that's what they say.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But we all want a positive
no
community.
shade intended, but the whole idea that like a four is somebody that like just hangs out with their friends and play video games is dumb. I was like for someone to actually believe that that could categorize an entire group of people who are actually living in the real world and feeling the consequences of those choices. I mean, to me, it's obvious that there are going to be people with a four drive who have managed to also be all these other things, because you have to be those things to be successful in life. You need all of the drives. It's just which ones serve the other ones.
Yes. The thing is that when I first came across the social theory thing, there was a lot of negativity and darkness within it. But
Yeah.
Even in Shan's Q&A, she's like, hey, this is important to me because my son, and I don't know how to deal with my son. And,
Right.
and I said that in a previous interview. I'm like, hey, part of the use of OP is could be raising kids correctly.
Yeah.
And not going, hey, why aren't you SI? You know, that's me.
Right.
You know, why aren't you FE? You know, why aren't you FI? You know, well,
like for me growing up, I used to get really mad when people yelled at me because I always was like, I am so ready to do what you want me to do if you just can communicate it to me. But if I'm messing something up and you don't tell me and then you yell at me, like, so to me, that's like fits with my drive. My drive is wanting to make my community happy or like be a good fit or person in my community. And so someone who doesn't have that drive might think they need to yell at me. But you don't, you don't. And it just it creates like so much tension in me that I then have to work through. Like, so yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Habib's chiming in that he at this time thinks you are a 3.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I might forward this to Dave and see what he thinks. If he wants to put input in. But
I don't necessarily want to ask Dave to do it for free. I mean, you can. I hate that because it's like the little like.
Hey, but this is for me. This is for getting the community to understand and helping my understanding. Like,
right.
what am I also doing? What did Dave say in Habib's interview? He's like, I'm the guy who understands this stuff. Right now, what am I trying to be? The guy who understands this stuff.
Yeah, but it's also what he does for a living. So if I want his feedback, I should pay for it just like anybody else.
Yeah, maybe. I'll consider.
I mean, is he?
Let's talk about it after.
Okay. After. Okay.
Let's talk about it after. But you like if what I'm saying is if we can, he actually cares about this information, this community, and if we can get some milestone people examples, iron out some contradictions, stereotypes.
Right.
This will help people understand social type better. So, and it will help them understand because they're still figuring it out too. Like from what I'm hearing, they're like, we're just playing around with it. That's what I've been seeing. So
I'm super curious to hear, and maybe later, if Habib thinks 3, where does he see flex? Because I'm not good at seeing this in myself, but that could be a conversation for another time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, what I kind of see in the social types is that third, that is like I didn't think to use this, but now that I'm here and I have a reason to, whoosh, like the ones will use the specialize. You know,
right.
Now that I'm here, now that I'm at my work, now the 3 will do the friends. And for the 4, it's now that I'm here with my friend group, the responsibility,
Right. But if he thinks I'm a 3, that means I'm specialized flex friends responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what he's seeing is demon responsibility. Maybe that's what he's seeing, and that's why he's calling it.
Yeah.
Which I would partially agree with. Yeah.
Yeah. It is like that third function that you can use when you get down to it, like
Yeah.
it really is. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be the flex would be the second function for 3. So it would be a savior in a sense.
Yeah. It'd be like I'm specializing and then flexing, and then there's friendship.
Yep.
And I mean, like Billy's answer wasn't necessarily weird, but he did say friends is all you have at the end. I don't believe it. That's where it was weird. He was, I don't believe it either. But this is what the NF thing I'm saying. I don't believe it. I'm like, you don't believe it? I don't believe it either. But like that's where he was being weird. But he was processing friends. Whereas,
Right, exactly. And this is what I'm saying is I think what you're going to find when you interview people, it's going to be hard to find people on the extremes. You're going to find people that use them all and can connect to them all. And it's, that teasing out of which one is the driving force. Which one do you do the others for?
To serve.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, it's like the recognition, the flex. It's like, and I'm like, oh God.
Because you have a vision or a goal or like a thing that you want, right? Yeah. And so the rest of it is like serving that. Yeah. And not in a bad way. That sounds messed up, but it's just what are you driven for? And then you learn along the way that these other things matter too.
Hey, well, the thing is Dave kind of said the 4s are the least delusional. He was saying that, like, rely on the people around you and stuff. And he's like, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like the 4s and 3s are doing the nitty gritty, like on the ground, and like they're maintaining, they're holding shit together. They are the people holding shit together. Whereas what I want to do is just so much more risky, where it's like, it's a high risk strategy of I might make a big difference and it might be good, or I might fail, or I might make it worse.
Right.
But that's what I got to do. That's what my brain's telling me to do. So,
right.
And maybe it could change a lot and make things better, but I'm not getting down in the dirt with people as much unless I have a reason to get to that. Right. I want to crack open a boulder, shatter it, change the world. Okay. It's crazy talk. Okay. Let's get back to the questions.
That the cordyceps can fall down and infect everything. I'm just kidding.
Yes. And we're united. Unity. So, next question, Kelly. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
Nothing and everything. It depends on the relationship you have with the people that you're joking with.
Much more. Jeez, I've gotten not everything can be joked about. I've gotten nothing can be joked about, and then you gave me the nuance. Damn it.
Yeah, because like, if it's something that like, I don't know, I can't think of a good example. They're all going to be stupid examples, but we'll go with a basic one. Like 2 doctors that deal with life and death every day, they're going to be able to joke about death with each other. 2 people in the military, they're going to be able to joke about violence and aggression with each other because it's something they're actually processing, and they understand that, and they understand that the role of the humor is to help them process. But with anybody else, that understanding isn't there, and so you can't joke about it.
Wow.
Because
keep going. This is good.
No, that's it. That's all there is to it. There's no more.
I mean, I kind of went on a rant with Sadiq.
I didn't quite finish that interview. I was trying to listen to it last night while I was running around. What was the rant? Tell me.
Well, I started just saying, I was puzzling out, like, okay, like Avery had said, we can't joke about anything in anyone's DI, anyone is dealing with this or that. And I was like, and I was talking to Sadiq, I'm like, okay, like, what's the purpose of the comedy? The comedy, like, get a thicker skin. I don't want a wind to blow over and you to fall over and shatter into a million pieces. I want you to be tougher. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be so fragile.
But Yeah,
What?
sorry. No, continue.
What were you gonna say? I want to hear.
That I don't think people have the right to do that to a person until they've put in the work to show that they like you have to show you care about the person before you have
Yeah.
the right to push on their DI, basically.
That's a good thing that just I was not even processing.
Unless you are pushing on their DI is like protecting your own boundaries, which absolutely happens. Like there's going to be conflicts and jokes, that people are going to get offended sometimes. But like if you say to a person, I don't want you to be blown over by the wind, like my response to that is, cool, what else don't you want from me? Or is it that you don't want me to be blown over because me being blown over affects something else you care about and it has nothing to do with me? So like, and
Good observation, Kelly. Good observation. Oops. I might have got
but that's there's no shame in that. It's just like I do it too. Like I've pushed on my parents, I've pushed on my sister, like I've pushed on my husband, and then realized in hindsight, hey, this is only bothering me because it's stopping me from doing something that I want, and I need to take a step back. And if I really want them to see this, I need to equally invest in what they want, type deal.
Yeah.
Or at least, yeah. Fair.
Well, one thing I brought up in comedy, and me and him both agreed that we don't actually like comedy that much. Like we don't actually watch comedy that much. What?
Nothing. I was just saying the word actually, like actually. Please continue with your idea.
But we started talking about a guy named Daryl Davis, who is a black man who goes and befriends KKK members.
Oh.
And then they leave the KKK and they all give him their old robes, and he's done it with hundreds.
Amazing.
Hundreds. And so we were saying, oh shit, we should reach out to Dave and Shannon and get them to type that guy, Daryl Davis. Because I was talking about, okay, like where did the jokes? Some people are. I am against, in a sense, what Avery was saying of don't make any jokes about anyone who's dealing with anything ever. I'm like, guys, I need you to make jokes at my expense.
Yeah.
I need that because it's hard for me. And maybe I'm projecting. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe not you, but whoever's listening, maybe you aren't there yet. But like,
but
the thing is, we said that there are boundaries. There are times where jokes just spiral down, and that's tribal bullshit. That's what we were also like. That's where it's just toxic.
Right.
But when the comedian comes on and goes, "Hey, joke about these people," and then the other people who are thinking that about the other people are laughing at them, and then he flips it around and makes it about the people who are laughing. Oh, you laughed at that? You this. And then, oh no, we got caught. Yes. And then both sides are laughing with each other.
Right.
And it's this moment of healing.
Right.
I'm like, if you get rid of that, all this stuff goes into the dark. They will be making jokes about it in the dark.
Yes, exactly.
And then it will spiral and fester. So,
there's a fun quote. It's like, darkness hides things, but it doesn't make them go away. It was much more eloquent than that, but that's the short paraphrase. And I think I came across it because I was reading an article about banning certain books from libraries. And I have opinions about that. But yeah. So
I'm always like, not always like, but I'm like, damn, I should really read like one of those I should get the Quran, I should get all these other things. I'm like, am I gonna get on a watch list?
Yeah, no.
Like if I get Mein Kampf, like, and I'm like, just being any like paranoid, but I'm like, I really should, because I really should delve into these people's minds and their dark, or at least the dark people. Not that the Quran is bad.
The mistake that I
like
made.
anything controversial is what I'm saying.
Well, but there is also there is legitimacy to this idea that ideas are powerful.
Oh, so they are.
Believing I can read a bunch of different things and not be moved by them is sort of naive on my part. But it's not that I believe that's not what I'm pushing. What I'm pushing is banning them or like hiding them. They're still going to be found. It's like telling your kid not talking about sex with your kid. They're just going to learn about it from somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Yeah, there was at one point where I was like, okay, what we need is a society where there's a camera in everyone's house so that no one ever gets hurt. Like I was like really going down that hall. I'm like, okay, is this really the thing I want? Is this what I'm traumatized by? And I'm like, well, that would never work because it would immediately get corrupted and used for tyranny, obviously. Like I immediately knew that, but I was like, how do I solve this problem?
I think
How do I solve this problem of abuse?
literally walk
And
around.
I still don't have the solution, but I'm just like, oh God, crush everyone. I'm like,
start writing short stories about these ideas you have, and then using the short stories to explore the actual outcome of them, and then enter them in short story competitions, because maybe you can make money off that and use that money to move you closer to your goals.
That might be good practice. Damn. Wow. I'm just getting I'm getting so much from these interviews. I'm getting so much.
Poke, poke, poke.
Poke, poke, poke. Do this. Think of this idea. I'm like, damn, you people are interesting. I used to just be walking around thinking, wow, everyone's so fucking boring. You're all so smart. How are you so smart? Wow. So useful. You stop shaking your head. I'm giving you a compliment. I'm getting off my high horse and giving you a compliment. God damn it.
Okay. All right. How do you cope with the fact that one day you will die?
We aren't talking about that. That's a question for you.
The fact that I will die one day, it just makes me want to like suck as much out of each day as possible. That's like the whole like want to be the best version of myself. Like I want to enjoy every moment fully. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be spending every moment like abusing myself and pushing myself so hard that I'm not enjoying it. I want to, but I also know that like laying around on the couch all day is fun in balance with being pushed. If I'm just like, so like, what does that look like? Part of sucking up every moment of every day is like having some discipline, because it helps you to appreciate all the stuff. Like I can't appreciate being lazy unless I've been really the opposite of lazy.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. And then it also pushes me to like really try to figure out like what is the end of this sentence? I don't want to say anything like cliche, but like, yeah, like really try things. Like right now I'm considering stepping outside of my career field and making a job change. And part of that is because I don't want to look back and have never taken that risk or tried anything else. But I'm also aware of like, it could not work. I could maybe regret walking away from the expertise that I've accumulated right now, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm afraid of that. But like also, you're going to die. Do you really want to, on your deathbed, be like, I never tried another job because I was afraid of it failing? Like, that's so stupid. But yeah.
Interesting.
And not being afraid of being open about the things you love. Like going after them. Like when you realize that you love something or you enjoy something, do it more. like go do it. Find a way for it to be in your life. Yeah.
Wow. You know, let me tell you the reason I asked this question. Mm-hmm. Is that there's a book called The Worm Which Eats to the Core. And it's about how, like, I've only gotten through the opening part, but it's about how judges, when they were reminded about death, that they gave stricter sentences. And then, really? We're like, oh no, but like they were like, oh, this is what is morally driving me. Because you considered everything, and you considered your life, and you considered what was right and wrong. Mm-hmm. And then there was this guy who made a video, which I talked about in the VCs, which was about how every civilization has a negative emotion that they use to push away the fear of death. Mm-hmm. And so I am there were 7 that he came to, this guy should take, but I'm like, okay, can there be an 8th? Can I make the 8th? Like, is that my goal? So,
emotion to push away the fear of death.
So for instance, in the West, we have guilt, We traditionally had guilt, and now the guilt pride is dying and anxiety is taking over.
Right.
And so we're just trying to act like nothing bad happens and don't let anything bad happen. We're super fragile.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is a negative. This anxiety culture is a negative culture of fragility, and I don't think people are happy in it anyway. So let's figure something else. Maybe we can't go back to guilt, but maybe we can find something else.
Yeah.
Maybe we can invent something new. So that is why I asked the question. Now, you asked how I cope with death.
Yes.
Do you really want my answer? Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Yes, I do.
I
Yes,
have an NF. Are you sure? I've shared this.
Shut up and start talking.
I've been so no, I don't want to. But I will. I will share it with you. Okay, fine. My NF belief is that, and I thought this before OP, but some of it was with Myers-Briggs. I went, I am a part of a pattern. I am a pattern that repeats. The structure of my being is something. There are other people who've come before me who've thought like me in certain ways. So they don't need to be exactly like me. You know, maybe they're an ENFP. Maybe they're not an ENFP and they have the same crazy drive and ambition. Those are two parts of my being. Those are two parts of my soul, split up throughout the whole world. They're everywhere. So imagine me, imagine my chromosome changed from a X to a Y, or from a Y to an X.
Yeah.
It's like I'd have all the same DNA. What would be different about me? A lot would. What if just one gene was changed and my eyes were brown? What if a few genes were changed? Would that person not be me? And I see the spectrum of me's. I see the spectrum of possible me's. They don't even exist. I go, oh, I just see that, and I see it, me changing into everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So me and everyone else are actually all one. I'm being any crazy, but we're all one. We're all the same person. There are parts of me and everyone else. But I'm this me. And I have the crazy things I think that I need to do. I want to be significant. I want to make this change. I feel like no one is coming to save the thing that I want to save. I see no one doing it. I'm the only one. It is the ego story in my head, which keeps coming back. But when I let go, I go, I'm one transmutation. I'm one try at this. I am trying to do this pickaxe. I'm trying to hit this boulder. I'm trying to put a chip in this boulder. And I hope that it will crack. I hope that it will crack and I will make a change, but maybe I'm just putting a chip in the boulder. And another thing is, I'm trying to tell this story. Jason told me a story which had me sobbing. About literally, it was the story of the Wheel of Time, about this guy who was the hero who was losing his mind, and the wise women in his life are like, before the end, he's not smiling again. We need to make him smile. Let me actually tell the whole story. So Jason told me this, and I just started crying, like at all these points through it, where the guy's going, your mind must be like steel. Your mind must be like steel. Your mind must be like steel. And he starts telling his soldiers he's the chosen one. Your mind must be like steel. Don't think, don't feel, you don't love, you're a soldier. Right. And he's doing it to himself, and he's not smiling anymore. Mm-hmm. And he has this corruption, this taint in his mind that's slowly making him go mad, to where he's literally like using magic, and he's literally wiping out half the enemy's army, but half his own army. And he's being tortured and tortured and tortured. And he's like, my mind must be like steel. My mind must be like steel. And there are these people who passed through who had said, there's this way of the leaf. No, we are leaf. You have to let go. And he's like, I can't hear you. I have to save the world. I'm the chosen one, blah, blah. My mind must be like steel. And the wise women in his life who know magic, you would think that their mission in the story would be to teach him magic. And they're like, nope. We're here to just make sure he smiles before the end. And as things go on, he's descending. He's hearing the voices in his head. He's losing his mind. And as he's about to fail, he lets go. He gets the story in his head. You must be a reed. You must bend. Right when he's about to break, a little stream of light comes in and heals his madness. And what was about to happen was he was in this place where magic couldn't be used, but the Dark One gave him access to the Dark One's magic because the Dark One wanted him to be on his side. And his generals were given a prophecy that you will slap the Chosen One so hard that he falls down. So he comes out after he's been healed, and all his generals come up and slap him so hard that he's just being knocked over, seeing stars. He's like, "You fools! If you had done it a day earlier, you'd all be dead." And they're like, "You can't use magic here." He's like, "I have ways. I have ways." And the message he learned was, I must be a reed. When people say mean things, I laugh it off. When bad things come, it doesn't matter. And he goes back to his men, his soldiers, who he's beating into, you must be hard, you must be steel. He goes back and he goes, no, you're men. You love, you cry, you laugh. Be men. I'm like, I'm just fucking crying this whole time. And he also told me, he goes, there's also a group of people who, when they get tortured, they just laugh. The people of the desert, these warrior people, they just laugh because I'm not a person. I'm a people. So when you're torturing me, you're trying to inflict pain on me. That doesn't matter. I just laugh. It doesn't matter. And I was like, wow, that's an amazing story, Jason. And I was crying the whole time as he was telling me this. I just kept sobbing because I was like, I was literally saying, everyone needs to be disciplined. Everyone needs to be like steel. And what happened was I went, wow, Jason, I need to retell that story because that was a 13 long book series. And that guy died before he finished it. And someone else had to finish it for him.
Brandon Sanderson took on the role.
Yeah, he did. That guy failed his mission if he was on a mission. He wrote some damn good books and he took his time. And guess what? They're too long. So a lot of people will not hear that story. And they're going to fail making it in the Amazon show. So people won't hear it again. I'm like,
I don't know if they've completed it, but they already started.
They started it.
Yeah. Well, I know it's very popular.
They've already corrupted everything. Like I saw, they were like, oh, no, it's gendered. Like, it's so weird. I don't trust them. They're not gonna do it justice. And so what I'm saying is, the Tolkien, all these people, they're the links in a chain building up. All fantasy writers are in communication with each other. They're all riffing on each other. George R. R. Martin is doing the dark fantasy of Tolkien. He's going, well, the prince was a bastard and a rapist and all this stuff, and I'm a cynic. It's like, and so I know I'm somewhere in this link in this chain.
Mm-hmm.
Or I want it to be significant. I want the flex,
but
I might not do it. But if I don't try,
right,
I will fucking hate myself forever.
Yes.
I'm like, so, and maybe I'm just linking a chain and someone else makes the really big one later on, the really big art piece that was like, hey, this was it.
Right.
This was the big one. But I hope it's me. That is how I cope with death. That I'm working towards that. But that is my NF. That is my flowery fairy NF. It is what it is. That is how I cope with death. We are all one. I got a lightning bolt when I was 18 that said we're all one, and my ego then flipped back on, and I became the same asshole I always was. But in the back, that is what I believe, and that is what I want to share with the world as well. So now you know.
No, I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't want to add on to it, but it reminds me of just like any writers. Yeah, this idea of science fiction, fantasy writers all basically trying to unearth some sort of truth through their language, which is the science fiction fantasy realm of language. No different than mathematicians or scientists or anybody else. It's this idea that there are universal things that people resonate with and experience, and you're trying to capture it and distill it somehow, some way.
Yes.
And the idea that we are all part of some thing bigger than ourselves, and we are just one expression of this reality. Again, one expression of what is reality. Yeah, I'm on the same page.
Thank you. Well, why should I think of, but yay, connection, right?
Yeah.
Hug.
No, don't touch me. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Touch, tickle,
Yeah.
tickle, poke.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's cool. I hope you start writing more frequently, because the best way to get there is to write more often.
I know, right?
Start writing.
I know, right? Well, the problem is I had a you know, I had a breakthrough, and it literally broke everything that I was, because part of the journey is doing the interviews, because I realized my personal story that I was writing into this book was my own trauma story that wasn't resonant. It was just me.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I went, holy shit, I have to learn. I have to do the friends and learn, hear other people's stories to write a universally resonant story.
Right. Yep. Yes.
So it broke everything I was doing.
Yes.
And then I have this new idea. Oh, this in the book, this split between the sun and moon factions. I'm like, and I was like, that wasn't there before. I'm like, and then it's just, that's the entire plot. And I'm just like, okay, back to square one. But it's an evolution. So I'm on the path. This is part of the journey, you know.
Go at it.
I know. Well, Kelly.
Yes.
We've gotten through all the questions.
Yeah.
I will leave it up to the people watching in the comments on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Please, if you watched, put in your guess for Kelly. Kelly will take it or leave it or say whatever she wants. We do not care what you say. We will take your input as this is what the tribe thinks.
Mm-hmm. But
we will go our own way. We will have our DI. We are so DI. We don't care what you say, but we'd like to hear what you say. So anyone who's watching, ta-ta. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It was lovely. Kelly, I would like to share some stuff with you afterwards. So don't leave just yet. But bye, everyone.